What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 41 of Beyond the Finish Line, a running podcast that dives deep into the stories that transcend far beyond the distance. I'm your host, Joe Hardin. I am a passionate trail runner myself. Whether you're an elite, a back of the pack grinder, somewhere in between, this is your space to learn, grow, and get inspired. Today we have Ashley Haynes on the podcast. I think the first time I ran into Ashley was at the first annual Momofo 100K. And right around that time, I had been a guest on Chris and Carly's podcast, and I was diving deep into their episodes. And I heard an episode that Ashley had done on their show. And I was just intrigued. And I've heard Ashley on our friend Allie Brettnager's podcast, and I've gotten a chance to meet Ashley in real life a few times now. She's also a fan of Nerd Gummy Clusters, so we have that in common. But before I bring Ashley forward to the show, do me a huge favor, everybody. So friends of the podcast, we can't do this without your support. Rate, share, like, subscribe. Give me a 5-star review if you feel so inclined. We can't do this without your support. And it's been overwhelming, the amount of reviews we've gotten and 5-star reviews we've had this year. And something that I really love that I encourage everyone to do, that's been a lot of fun, is now you can comment on Spotify. And that's been so cool seeing like feedback on my episodes. I don't know if you guys like this or not, if you don't tell me. So it's been really cool seeing your feedback and kind of seeing the conversation grow outside of the podcast episode. So that's been really fun. So thank you all for doing that. Continue to do that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. So without further ado and me rambling anymore, let's bring Ashley forward for this great chat.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, Ashley. How's it going?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've got to run into you a few times, and I heard you on some other podcasts, and so you've been kind of high on my list to get you on the show. It's been really fun. Tecumseh and Jackson and Momofo and all those cool trail races that we all love.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nothing I love more than talking about running, and also nothing I love more than bringing home a piece of race award or hardware or memory that you've made.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that makes me so excited. Like seeing anybody like earn some hardware, but when it's people that I know, it gets me really excited. So it's really cool. Yeah, because you took home some hardware at Tecumseh this year, so that's so rad. Yeah, so thank you. I put a lot of passion behind those awards, so I certainly appreciate that.
All right.
So
where you want to start?
Yeah, so like I do with every guest, I kind of like to just tell me, who is Ashley Haynes?
Well, I'm a person that lives in Indiana and really loves dogs and trail running, and spending time in the great outdoors. Yeah, I mean, I also, we've got like everyone, I've got a job, but I think one of the things that's been interesting in the past couple of years is, when you meet someone, you're like, oh, tell me what you do. And a lot of times, like, oh, we think that that means tell me what your job is and how do you make money and what do you do for a living, and not necessarily what are the things that you love to do. And running and trail running in particular is one of those things that I have loved to do for a very, very long time. And I love the opportunity to introduce myself and meet people and not just be like, oh, so here's what I do for a living, which is it's very important. Don't get me wrong. And I love my job, and I work in the nonprofit space. So I feel like I make a lot of impact in what I do every day for a living. But at the same time, there's so much more to us. And one of those things about me is that I love my dogs and I love running outside. Not together. I don't love those two things together. My dogs are not trail runners. Like I know some people that have are able to love those two things together. Those are not my dogs. But I love them separately.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so jealous when I see Stephanie running with her dogs. I'm like, I wish I could get my dog to do that.
I will say, Stephanie Wood and her 3 Rhodesian Ridgebacks, their running is fantastic. I would call it the absolute privilege of running with them, and it really feels like you're part of the pack. I feel like in trail running, like you see a lot of the times, but like when you're running 3 80-pound dogs, you're really part of the pack.
That's so cool. Yeah, I can get away with running a couple miles with my dog, but he's like really reactive to squirrels. So there's been a few times where he's just like darted off one direction while I was running. It's like, all right, we might not be able to do that a whole lot with him, but so yeah, I guess if you would maybe run us through. So running, that's what brought us here, I guess. But
Yeah.
tell me about like your running journey. How did you get started, like on this path?
Yeah, I started running because I had to, and it was the thing that required the least coordination. Um, so growing up, I'm the oldest of 4, and it's a girl, girl, boy, boy in my family, and my youngest brother is 8 years younger than me. I was the one in my family that when you asked me as a child, like, what's your favorite hobby? What do you do? Reading was the thing that I love to do, and then like imagining. So, we had my sister and my friends and we had like restaurants that we would make up and invite the neighborhood kids to. We would sell terrible, but at the time it seemed wonderful, pieces of artwork for 10 cents to buy ice cream at the ice cream truck. And like we made the series of Scream movies.
Cool.
So those were the things that I loved to do growing up. I had great aspirations of being an actress and working in the arts and all of that. My siblings, my sister and my 2 brothers, they all played soccer. My sister ran cross country. My brothers played football, lacrosse, basketball, like any sport that you could try. My parents tried me in all of those. So I tried gymnastics, I tried t-ball, I tried softball. I had one infamous season in 8th grade for some reason. I was like, I'm going to try Parks and Rec soccer. And I am not the coordinated one or graceful one in my family, and I also just didn't have a great love for sports the way that all of my siblings did. But when I got into high school, one of the things that I learned early on freshman year is that when you are eventually doing college applications, your junior and senior year, you need to have things to put on those college applications. And I love to read books. Was not necessarily considered an extracurricular club or hobby on your college applications. And since I did not take well to any of the sports that required balls and coordination, running was the most straightforward one that I could do. So I started as a sprinter on the track team my freshman year. Also, the majority of my friends were running track, so really it was an excuse to hang out with my friends, something that I could put on my college application. The town that I grew up in, our roads were named after miles. So like I grew up off of the subdivision off of 10 Mile Road. 9 Mile was exactly 1 mile from 10 Mile to 9 Mile.
Oh, okay.
So in high school for sprinters, our longest run that we ever did during a particular week was 2 miles. So we'd run down the high school driveway and then run essentially from like 10 Mile to 9 Mile and back. I would be a good little runner until I got to the end of the school driveway and turned the corner where the coach could no longer see us. And then I loved being a walker. It was so great. So I started running when I was a freshman in high school. So I was 13 or 14 at the time. I did the 100, I did the 200. I tried the hurdles. As someone who's not coordinated, I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea. Eventually, like I couldn't jump over them by the end of the season because I was just afraid of like tripping and falling over. So I like mostly did the 100, 200. I ran a really, really good 400 in practice one time and then mysteriously got shin splints and was never able to run it again.
Dang.
So mysterious. Shoot. couldn't run the 400 in a track meet. Shin splints always happen. And then I also high jumped, which again, that was mostly so that I had the privilege of hanging out on the high jump mat after all the high jumpers were done, because I was a high jumper, and so I could hang out there and hang out with I maybe cleared like the entry level bar most weeks if I was lucky. So yeah, that's where my running journey started, which now that I regularly run 100Ks, 100 miles, most of the people that I know now as an adult are like, oh, like you've been running, like you must have run like cross country and like distance and stuff in high school. And I was like, no, I started running the 100 meter because that was the shortest thing I could possibly run and still be considered on the track team. So yeah, my journey with running started because I needed something. I needed an extracurricular. My friends were doing it, and I got to hang out with them in the spring after school.
That's cool. Question. What kind of books do you like to read? I guess I'm just curious.
I like to read all kinds of books. Currently, I'm in a romantic fantasy era. But like growing up, like Nancy Drew and Anne of Green Gables series were my go-to. I like myself some John Green. He wrote a really good book about tuberculosis, which nonfiction, very interesting story about the history of tuberculosis. So I like reading all types of books. I've been reading. I mean, I was also the kid that when we would be driving, we did a lot of camping growing up. So that's part of also where my love for the outdoors. All of our family vacations growing up were camping somewhere. I would have the book. I'd be sitting in like one of the backseat seats of the family van and have like the book so I could read in the headlights that were in the car behind us whenever there happened to be a car behind us, which my parents kept saying, it's going to make your eyesight terrible.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Maybe that was true, but also my dad would say if you turn on like the back top light in the back of the car, the police are going to pull me over and give me a ticket. And I have since learned as an adult that is in fact a lie. That is not true. The police will not pull you over if your backlight is on. But as a child, my parents convinced me that was an accurate piece of information. So I told them in my book up trying to read from the headlights that were driving behind the
car. That's so cool. How do you get from you? So you wanted to do the shortest distance possible to like taking on like 50Ks and 50 milers and 100 milers and 100Ks. Like when did that? It seems like such a. I know there's a lot of gaps to fill there, but it seems like such a wild transition. So when did that like begin? Like when did you go from like track to trail to road or trail, or how did that story even happen? I guess.
Yeah. So when I graduated high school, I went to Michigan State University. So I grew up in Michigan. So I went to Michigan State was where I went, and it was being a college freshman and being on your own in between. The class structure of being in college was so different than like what I was used to in high school, where like my day was structured from. We started school at 7:20 in the morning until 2:00. And then if it was track season, then I had, like track practice and like track meets and things after that. And it was so much more structured for you when you're in high school. And so I had so much more free time. I was like, well, I should probably do something. I tried the elliptical at like the gym with friends, but that was, I always run outside even now. Like I don't run on a treadmill. I've tried within the past 2 years. I am not coordinated enough to run on a treadmill either. I have learned.
Totally understand.
Right. So like the gym and like running on like the elliptical, like that was not for me. But a lot of the people that I was friends with at the time coming out of high school that were also at Michigan State, and other people they became friends with, they were runners. They were a lot of cross country runners, so they were used to running more. And they were also then part of the triathlon team at Michigan State. So a number of my friends that I was hanging out with regularly, they were either biking. I am not a good swimmer. I did eventually get a bike so that I could bike with them. So it's the only other thing that I could very easily and cheaply as a college student do was run. And actually, one of the running stores in East Lansing was one of the Runner's World shoe testing stores. So some of my friends there were also like shoe testers for Runner's World. So you get shoes for free, and then you just run them, and then you tell them what you thought, which was again a great deal for college students.
Yeah.
So like a big group of people that I was spending a lot of time with were doing all these recreational activities, and running was like the one thing that I could really easily do. And so it's like, okay, well, I mean, I was never going to do a triathlon, and I have never done a triathlon, and I have zero aspirations to ever do a triathlon. I was like, but I could do a half marathon. So I want to say it was maybe my junior or senior year. I convinced my sister to do a half marathon with me in Traverse City, Michigan. We did the Bayshore half. So I trained, I don't know, I Googled like half marathon training plan. And like, so then like I started like training to like run a half marathon. And then after I did that, I was like, well, I've been able to do that. I'm like, I could probably do a marathon. So I did my marathon in 2009. And for some reason, I decided that the Akron Marathon was going to be my first marathon, which East Lansing, Michigan, and where I grew up outside of the Metro Detroit area, very flat, similar to the Indianapolis area where I live now, very flat. Akron, Ohio, very not flat. Akron, Ohio is much more similar to like a hilly trail run. But so I Googled like Hal Higdon's, I don't know, marathon training plan probably, and I trained however many months that ended up being to run a marathon. And I do remember running, this was it was a year after I had graduated college. I remember like doing a training run in the rain, and I had a friend that I told I was going to go running, and like I hadn't been back in a while, and like they came out and like found me where I was like, no, I'm fine. And like it just took me longer than I thought that it was, and it's raining, and I'm like having a great time. So that was my first marathon. It was in 2009, and it was actually my last marathon until 2023, because when I was at mile 22, 23 of that Akron Marathon that year, there was a sign up on a hill. I very clearly remember it was like on my right side, and it was advertising an upcoming race that was like you could do like a marathon distance or you could do a 50K distance. And like mile 23 of a marathon, as someone who loved to read, math was also not my favorite subject. It entertained my mind for like a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles, like to figure out how many miles is a 50K and could I do that? And it's really only, I mean, it's actually a little bit less than 5 miles longer than a marathon. I was like, well, if I can make it to the end of this marathon and I've run 26.2 miles, surely I keep going for another 4.8 miles. I'm like, I could run a 50K. And so I was like, well, yeah, I guess I could do that. And it was a couple years. It wasn't until it was 2012 or 2000. I think it was 2012. So like 3 years later that I ran my first 50K. I did the Run Woodstock 50K in Michigan. The running company that puts that on it's now called, I think, RF Events. It was Running Fit Events at the time, and Running Fit was the shoe store in the town that I grew up in. So like I was really familiar with Running Fit because that's where I went to get like my spikes and my shoes that I ran for like in track in high school. So that's how I even knew about them and knew that it existed. And Run Woodstock I've done it many times since. Run Woodstock is one of my favorite weekend running events. It starts on, I think you can actually start camping on like a Thursday night, but starting on Friday, they've got a fun run distance like in the morning. They've got stand-up yoga. They've got paddleboarding. There's a 100-miler, a 100K, a 50K, like all of the distances. And for every distance that you run, and they've got like fun runs that happen on the Sunday, and they've got like a naked mile and like a beer, they've got like all the things. And for every race, that, like actually registered race that you do, you can do all of these fun runs that are associated with it. So that first year, I ran the 50K. So I did as many other fun runs as I could fit around the fact that I was also doing the 50K. And you get like all these little buttons for every race that you do. So like I came home with like my actual medal and then like as many buttons for all these activities that I could do. So it's called Run Woodstock, and it really is like, it's similar to the music festival. It's a weekend of like fun and running, and like the theme of it is like hippie Woodstock, and it's one of my favorite races. I've done it a bunch of times, but that was my first ultra marathon, and that's and ever since that one, again, I'd done like a few like road 5Ks and like a couple half marathons like in there over the years, but that was my Akron was my first and last road marathon until 2023, because I started running ultra marathons on the trail, and I've been running trails ever since. And the road marathon that I did in 2003 was part of that year. My running goal was to do all the different distances, and marathon is one of those distances. And I'm on the board for the Indianapolis Monumental Marathon. And so I was like, great, I hadn't run the race that I'm on the board for, because I was a trail runner. I was like, well, great, it's an opportunity, like as one of like the marathon distance I did that year, I was going to do the Monumental Marathon. So that was the first time that I had run a road marathon in 15, 7 years. Fantastic time.
Cool.
A painful run on the road was for a marathon compared. I mean, running on a trail is painful, but like a road marathon is a different kind of painful.
Yeah. I can't say that, because I like you, I kind of did the same thing. I did like a half marathon trail run, and I was just like, I could sign up for a marathon or I could sign up for a 50K. So it's just like same thing. It's like my logic was I could just go another, and my first 50K was Jackson County. No, my first 50K was Prairie on Fire, but my first trail 50K was Jackson County, which is like the craziest place to like cut your teeth in 50K. But so yeah, I still haven't done that.
That's a congratulations to that being your first 50K.
Yeah, like soon as I did that, I was like, I don't know what if I could go any farther, but so I haven't done an official marathon, but if I do, like I want to ask about your like how you got involved with any monumental. I think it's kind of cool you're on the board. So if I plan on doing, I just kind of dismissed the marathon distance, but now that I've been hosting this podcast and I've been talking to more like runners, like it's not just a trail running podcast anymore. I can't really say that because I have road runners on, and it's just terrain. Like that's the only difference between all of us. Yeah. We're all just a cool group of people. Just we prefer different terrain sometimes. So it's like now I'm like more road curious, like more marathon curious than I've ever been. So I think it might have to happen this year. Hopefully, I'd like to do Indy Monumental. But yeah, all that being that said, like how did you get involved with the board? That's kind of cool. It's such an iconic race too. Like, I mean, people come from all over the world to run that race. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's an awesome race. This past year was our 18th year. I've been on the board since 2019. And the way that I got on the board, I mean, honestly, and part of it was because I am, everyone that knows me knows how much I love running, and I talk about running all of the time. Even probably when I don't need to be talking about running. But at the time, I worked for, like, what do you do outside of work? Like, well, let me tell you about how I go and spend 16 hours in the woods running in the mud and eating food. It's great. But in 2018, 2019, I was working for a nonprofit in Indianapolis called Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. They're an environmental nonprofit.
Oh yeah.
There's many Keep America. They're Keep America Beautiful. So there's similar nonprofits like all across the country. And this one focuses on tree planting, litter cleanup, creating green space, building community in Indianapolis. And one of the big events that Keep Indianapolis People does is they do a day of service with Lily. And
Okay,
so
cool.
our main contact at Lily at the time, his name is Al White. He is a fantastic individual. He was on the board of the Monumental Marathon. Beyond Monumental is the name of the nonprofit that runs the marathon. And so I got to know Al, and he very quickly got to know how much I love and enjoy running. And he had asked me, he's like, hey, would you be interested in being on the board of the Monumental Marathon? And again, like in 2019, a road marathon in over a decade. At that point, I was like, yeah, sure, I love running. I love to be part of an organization that also just loves running and promotes running. Sure, great. So I met with the president of the board at the time, the president of Beyond Monumental, and I've been on the board ever since. And now Allie Brettmacher is also. So it's just a great.
Cool.
Allie and I get to talk about running all the time, but also talk about running and do things that are like actually impacting one of the races that we have here in Indiana. Yeah, I will
Cool.
say one of the things about having run a road marathon for the first time after so many years of not running them, and I've done the full. So I ran the full in 2023 as part of like something that like my goals for that year. I ran it the full again in 2024 to help Allie set her marathon PR. So I paced her during it. So I've done it since, and I ran the half marathon this year. But the biggest thing when I ran a road marathon again for the first time in so many years in 2023, when we would pass the aid stations, I'd be like, where are the Pringles? Where are the chocolate chip cookies? Where is the Mountain Dew? What do you mean? People just like, you have to like run and like grab a cup and like be drinking. I was like, why aren't we just, we don't, oh, that's right. We don't just stop at aid stations and like chat and hang out with the volunteers for a couple minutes. It's like a grab and go. And it's like, oh, there's like bananas and gels and things. I was like, where's my Pringles? Where's my Nerd gummy? Like, where are all my things? So yeah, even when I ran the half marathon this year, I was like, oh, I miss, where's my trail running aid stations? I miss those.
Yeah. There's no quesadillas here. What's going on?
No. There's no cups of ramen noodles that are like too cold. They're also not burning hot. They did such a great job at Jackson County. Like I would say, like feedback to Josh and the team, the ramen at every aid station that I was at is the perfect temperature.
Yeah, chef's kiss. I went so hard in the paint on ramen this year because I was freezing the entire time. So I ate so much ramen. I like that last cup of ramen. I had like a cup of ramen at like one in the morning. I was like, I can't do ramen for the next year. Like it'll be next Jackson County before I do ramen again. But yeah, it was on point. Yeah, you were talking about foods at road marathons, and I told Allie a story about like the craziest thing I can remember eating at an ultra was the IT 100 had like cheese pizza at their aid stations, and I like grabbed a piece of cheese pizza and like shoved it in my vest and was like running through the woods eating like a piece of cheese pizza. It's like just the look on her face was just like, what? I'm like, yeah, there's just like stacks of pizza at these aid stations at 100 miles. It's pretty wild.
What year did you do the IT?
2024. I DNF'd,
okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, I ended up DNFing at like 67 miles, but the 100-mile distance is my, I just can't quite, I've tried it twice and I can't quite get it yet. So I'm going to keep chasing it though.
Yeah. 2023 is part of my year of doing all the distances was the year that I did the IT, and it was raining and cold and kind of miserable. But the one thing, and I don't remember a lot of it. I mean, I know they had ramen at the stations, but one of the things the one thing that I remember, and it's because it was gone the next time that I came through that aid station, they had like Jello jigglers at one of the aid stations, like cut out
Ooh.
in like shapes, and like when I saw it at first, I was like, I don't know, that seems weird. That might upset my stomach, and so I didn't take one. But when I came back, like the next loop, they were all gone, and I still regret not taking the Jello jigglers because now I'm like, that would have been amazing. That would have gone down
Yeah.
really easy. I would barely have tasted it. It would have been easy to like absorb into my stomach, and so I still have regret that I didn't have a Jello jiggler at, I think it was the schoolhouse aid station at the IT 100 in 2013.
Yeah. Yeah, that aid station was like a party every time. I was so relieved to see that aid station every time. I was like, oh, cool. They had all the cool stuff at that one. Yeah, I've heard stories about that year. Like a buddy of mine did it that same year, and he like when he was done, he just like sent me a picture of his feet, and it was like the most like horrific thing I've ever seen. But like yeah, so I'm lucky that I signed up for a good year, but I had perfect weather at mine, and that weather wasn't my reason. It was just like you know how it goes. It wasn't quite my day. So tell me more.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say that's the 100 that I have completed. I did try the 100 at Woodstock the following year, and I didn't finish the 100, but they do have, and this is like for better or worse, I guess, because maybe I would have finished the 100. Um, they have an option where you can drop down to the 100K
Oh,
distance,
cool.
and I took a really hard fall at mile like 55, 57-ish, which I still have a scar on my knee that's not going to go. It's not going to go away. It's been almost 2 years, and it's not going. So I know it's not going to go away. And whether like I was actually like shouldn't have kept running, or it's just like that mental thing, I had the option at that point in time to drop down to the 100K. So I didn't finish the 100 mile, but also I guess technically didn't DNF the race because I finished the 100K. But I haven't run a 100 mile since the IT in 2013 or 2023.
Oh, yeah. We were gonna sign up for the Hallucination 100 this year. So if I pick one, that'll probably be one that I would like to do the 100 at Woodstock because I've heard so many great things about it. Like a lot of good things about it. So that year you did every distance, like that's just wild to me. Like, how many distances is that over a year? That's 5K to 100
Well,
miles,
okay.
right?
Yes. So I set out to do the 5K to 100 miles and 100 mile, and let me see if I can think about all of the distance, all of the races that I did. Because I'll say there's type A people and there's type B people. I would say that in beyond the line in my everyday life, I probably lean towards more being a type A person. I am a hard type B runner though. So like a lot of my road friends, like Allie included, I know have like spreadsheets, and like they know all of the spreadsheets of like all the races they've done and all of the times, and they know their PRs and they know the year and the race and all of that. I am going to have trouble remembering all the distances that I did that year, but I know in 23 I did the IT 100 mile. I did the hallucination, or I did the Woodstock 100K. It's not the hallucination. I can't remember the name of it, but the 100K at Woodstock. For the 50K, I think I did two. I might have done Tecumseh, and I did Tecumseh, and I also did the same running company that puts on Woodstock has a trail race in April, so I did a 50K there. Half marathon, I think I did probably the Fort Bend half marathon. I did Monumental. I can't remember what 10K I did. I'll have to look back now because it'll bother me. I don't remember a 10K I did. And I kept putting off the 5K, and then I finished. I did the IT, and I kept putting it off. And I was like, the 10K I did was the turkey trot. That's what it was. I did the turkey. I've gotten my family to become a turkey trotting family.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Since 22, 23, we've become they all like that first year, like I'm like, if you all walk or run the 5K, I will pay for your race registration and I will sign you up. And they're like, sure, Ashley, go ahead, we'll do that. I ran the 10K. And every year since, they're like, okay, so we're all going to sign up. Like, they all register themselves now. It's great. So I've turned this into a turkey trot family.
Cool.
So I kept, like, after thinking, like, well, I'll do like one of like the jingle bells or like something for like the 5K. And it kept getting later and later in the year. And I was like, you know what? I love running, and running brings me joy. What does not bring me joy are 5Ks. So I actually did not do
True.
I decided, like, I had the choice. So like I actively made the choice. I was like, this is and this distance, the 5K, doesn't bring me any joy. I don't want to do it. So I didn't end up doing distance because it didn't bring me joy.
Fair enough. Yeah. Like I will not do 5Ks unless like it's a turkey trot or like my wife wants me to run one with her. That's like pretty much, that's fun, is like running it with them. But like just doing a 5K and it's like, oh yeah, it's still like it's still the like I've been trying to like PR my 5K. I just can't. It's like I don't want to train for this. I would rather do a 50 miler, I think, than I would a 5K. But
same. It's like at like Thanksgiving, the 50K was like the only distance I had left. I 100% would have finished it before the end of the year. 50Ks bring me joy. 5Ks don't.
That's still cool. That's a pretty cool, like, I love that goal. I guess I've never thought about like doing that. It's kind of cool. I might have to take that on some year.
And like,
maybe that would motivate me to get that 100 miler done.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get into like, I mean, you know, like there's like 15Ks and like there's like you could do like there's a race for like every distance. So
yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna do like and the way that came about, and maybe you might actually even know who this is, since you're part of ITR. I would say either like the very last day of December. I think it must have been like the last day of December 2022, or it was like January 1st of 2023.
Oh.
I run at Eagle Creek a lot because that's the closest trail really like to where I live. And there's this gentleman that has a Subaru. He often runs in the winter in a very bright yellow jacket with a headband or a hat.
Okay.
But he had like his car was parked in the parking lot, and again I can't remember if it was the 31st or like actually January 1st. So I can't remember like when I set like that goal. It actually might have been January 1st. On the back of his Subaru, he has stickers for all the distances, like 5K to 100 miles. And I remember being like, oh, and I've seen his car before, and like I know what he looks like, so I know when I pass him on the trails, but I don't know his name. So if you or any of your listeners, or if he is one of your listeners, please let me know what your name is. But like I remember seeing his car, and that day that I was going out to run is like, I could do that. I was like, I could do all those distances, and then that became my goal for 2023.
That's cool. It's funny. I think I know what car you're talking about. I run the West Side a lot, actually, so I think I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen that car. I always go to the soccer fields. I like to start at the soccer fields.
I do too, because it's also easier, like mentally, for me, like coming down to like the Bear statue parking lot. Mentally, like when I'm doing a long run and if I use my car as an aid station, I mentally like go down to the parking lot. But the soccer fields, like you can just like run right by it. So I'm also out there. A lot.
Yeah, I like to, like, my thing to do is like I run down and I boop the bear. Like even if I'm alone, I like boop the bear and then run back up. Or if I want to do a long run, then I'll run that trail like out, like away from the water. But I just really love, like, if you take that trail down and back, you can be by the water the entire time. So there's always like cool birds and stuff. So it's like I try to stay by the water because like something about being by the water brings me a lot of joy. And there's just like all kinds of cool birds. Like it's amazing the birds you see there. But and I do the West Side quite a bit. It's been a while since I've been the West Side, but you go over to the East Side, sorry. But you go to the West Side, there's like hardly anybody there now. So it's been kind of I kind of love just like getting out there and like stretching my legs a little bit, not really running into like a bunch of people, but plus the bear. The bear's I'm like obsessed with the bear for some reason. I've got like 1,000 photos of the bear in my phone. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I love that. So what year did you do? Was that the same year you did the Momofo?
Um, it might have been.
Might have
It
been.
might have been 200. Yeah, because 2000. No, 24 was the first year for them. Last year was the first year for that, wasn't it? Because this year,
Yeah, right.
25 was yeah, 24 was the first year for that. So say
24.
otherwise,
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, I probably then I guess I did 200K a year. No, yeah, 24 was the first year.
That was my first. That was my first 100K. That was my first nighttime start too. So it was a lot. There was a lot of firsts there. It was like my first hallucination, my first night run. Like it was like all the things all in once. Somehow I got it
Yeah,
done.
I really like the 100K distance. The 100K at Run Woodstock that is probably my favorite course. I like that. It's a little bit different than the 100-mile course. It's probably my favorite course. That was probably my favorite race. It was my best performing race of 100Ks also. I think I won that year, and I did it in around, maybe it was just under 11. See, if I was somebody that kept a spreadsheet, I would know the exact time. I think it was like 11 hours and 27 minutes. It was like just under 11
Oh,
hours,
nice.
11 and a half hours.
That's cool.
Which is wild when you think about something like Jackson County, which this year with the lovely mile of mile plus of mud we had to run through over every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It took me almost 16 hours to finish Jackson County. So it took me almost 5 hours longer to do the same distance at Jackson County that it has taken me to do the 100K distance before. And same with the Momofo. That took me, I would say, almost like 14 hours in 2024.
I can't remember my time.
Still like I only know I only know ballparks. I know that I finished around like 9:30 in the morning, and if you start at 7 p.m. in the afternoon, then like that I can like roughly figure out. But some like the hills, like I have to say, like there's not a lot of hills in Indiana, but there are a lot of hills also in Indiana, and those courses are tough and so much fun, but also they're really hard.
They're really hard. Yeah. So a friend of mine last year, I talked him into coming down from Chicago and running Jackson County 100K. He was just like, it's Indiana. Like, how hard can that be? I was just like, you don't, I was like, Oscar, you don't get it, man. Like, this is tough. He's like, oh, no, 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 no. And then I saw him at like 3 o'clock in the morning. He's like, this is the hardest place I've ever been in my life. I was just like, I was like trying to tell you, like, this is different. It's not like, it doesn't seem like you're on the same planet. It's like, this is not Indiana at all. But he came back, so he must have not been too beat up. But
or maybe
so
he just enjoyed being beat up at it.
yeah, I think that's my problem. I love, it's like I love those like I'm not fast by any means, but I just really love those like really technical. Like if I can do like a lot of climbing, that's like where my heart is. Like, yeah, I love that stuff. Maybe not like while it's happening, but when you're done, it's just like when you see that like that vert readout on your Strava, it's just like, all right, like we did something here. So, and I love that. Like those big climbs at Jackson County, they're unrelenting, but that's kind of what my jam is, I guess. But the mud this
I'm
year.
yeah, I'm with you. I like the uphills. I am not a confident downhill running. I have been actively working on it, but also on courses like Jackson County at the time of year where and then it put F factor in the dark. Same with some of the places in Morgan Monroe State Forest where there's leaves and you can't entirely see like what you're like. I am just terrified of like twist. I'm not scared of falling. I have fallen plenty of times. One year at Tecumseh, I fell in a tree. so graciously caught me on my collarbone, my forearm, and like my face. I'm not afraid of fall. I'm not afraid of falling. I am afraid of like stepping into a hole and then falling and tumbling down. So it makes me potentially like an overly cautious and not confident downhill running, which also I love. Makes me love the uphills even more. Like, give me an uphill that I can like grind up. I do that all day versus going downhill. Unfortunately, you can't do those. You can't do one without the other in most cases. So I must suffer through and deal with the downhills. I can't just run all the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's what usually takes me out is downhill. This year I felt so much better than last year though, but it's just the mud. The mud slowed me down so much, and my time was still better this year than last year, which is crazy because that mud was wild. But I still haven't figured, like, my shoes are still like pretty trashed, so I'm eventually recovering my shoes somehow. But so I was going to ask you like what your favorite distance is, but I feel like you've kind of covered like the 100K is your favorite distance. But why do you think that is? Like what do you love about that distance specifically, I guess?
I love the long distance in general, but I like with the 100K that in most cases where you're not dealing with the amount of vertical gain and the amount of mud in the same race, you can generally finish it in like a reasonable number of hours, depending again on who you are as a runner and how fast you go and like kind of like on all of that. Versus when I did the IT 100 in 21 and a half ish hours, and a lot of hundreds you have 36 hours to complete them, or like the 200 distance, like you can do it 3 to 5 days to clear them. The 100K, like you feel like you're like I've run a really really long distance, and yet you can do it in what feels like a more reasonable amount of time. And I am someone who is extremely fortunate. My parents have always been huge supporters of anything that we do, but like particularly like coming from a family that is fairly into athletics. Like they were like, they were the parent captains for my brother's lacrosse team. My mom like managed the scoring, or like, taking my sister to high school soccer games. They came to my track meets, whatever it is that I was doing at them. And so I like to joke that now, as a less athletically gifted child, as an adult, I am making up for lost time by having them come and support me at races that can last up to 24 hours all at one time. So I am extremely fortunate that a lot of these races, particularly the ones that are in the Midwest, that my parents come and crew me. And so I'm also very cognizant of the amount of time that means that the people that are supporting me, which I also recognize, like, they can say no, and they have said no. They didn't come down to Jackson County. There's races they have not come to, so they can say no. But at the same time, like they come and support me, whether it's one or both of them, at a lot of my races. And so I'm also very cognizant of like my family is out there for it the same number of hours that I am. And 100K again is a distance that like I can feel like I was out there for a long time. I did a really long distance. And if I've got people that are crewing and supporting me, I'm not asking them to like be awake for 24 hours in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, fully. I was gonna like touch on like your parent, because I've heard you talk about it, and I've noticed that myself, that your parents at a lot of your events, like they were at the Momofo, if I remember correctly, but they were definitely at Tecumseh. So I think that's really cool that they support you. Like I will sometimes drag my family to like backyard ultras, but I haven't. My wife is just now doing her first trail race. She's doing the Winter Trail Frosty. So now that she's just now dipping her toe, so maybe she'll want to come to more of these things. But the same thing, it's like I don't really want you all to have to wait. Like I'm a back of the packer, so it's like this could take me 30 hours, like 100 milers. So it's like it's okay, just stay home. Like, but they've come to like some backyards and stuff, which is kind of cool. Cause I mean, like, the aid station is just at that, at the corral or whatever, but that's so cool that they come and support you. And it sounds like they love doing it. It's not like an imposition. So I think that's really special.
Yeah, and they know that they get to know. And yeah, I didn't ask them to come to Jackson because that's a hard race to like really crew and spectate at, since
Yeah.
you can only be at the main aid station. And for me, like I was going through there every 2 to 3 hours. Like you only see your runner that often. But I am at Jackson last year. I was fortunate to have one of my Z Welty ran the 50K, and then she stayed and she paced me for my loop 5 in 2024. So she got
Oh
to
yeah.
like she crewed me on like the laps in the time in between, which I had never been crewed by somebody that is also like an ultra runner at that level. So like my parents do a fantastic job, and like they are very great at listening to what I tell them to do. But when you're crewed by somebody that like has done it and has done the thing that you were just doing, like the way that Linda is like, yep, I know, like I know, like I know what you need. I know all of the things. Was also like, it was so cool. And this year at Jackson, I ran with my friend Anne. It was her first 100K, and she
Oh,
did a
cool.
fantastic 50K. She didn't finish the whole thing, which but with the mud, like I don't blame anybody that decided they did not want to finish the
Yeah.
100K.
Yeah.
But we had a friend a mutual friend that was coming down. Her name's Rachel. She's mainly a road runner, so she also like she came down to pace my last loop at Jackson. So she was also there to kind of like crew and do. And it's always like a runner, like be like, oh yeah, like, run, like you understand like all these things I need. I am going. Like speaking of the winter the night run at Eagle Creek, done that one for the past 2 years. I'm not doing it this year because I'm down. My friend Lindsay is doing the long haul 100 in the middle of
Oh yeah.
January, so I'm going down to the Tampa area to crew and pace her, which I'm both really excited and kind of nervous about, because I'm not often on that side of experience. Like my parents as like amazing crew have experienced. My friend Lindsay is like a runner who is like a fantastic crew person and pacer, because like she does this and like she knows it. So now I get to go down and support Lindsay in that same way, but I also like haven't really had a chance to do that very often. So it's like it's a whole new skill set related to running that I get to learn of, like, what does your runner need? Like, what do they need when they come into the aid station? What aid stations do they want you to be at? Okay, when you're pacing, I know the things that I like and don't like about pacers for myself, but like, what does my runner need from me as a pacer? So I'm really looking forward to doing an experience that side of ultra running as a runner that's supporting another runner.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like I've done like some aid station captain stuff and things like that, but I've never got to crew one. So that's been kind of high on my list too. That'll be a really cool experience. You said long haul 100. That's Florida, right? You said
Long haul 100, Florida.
okay. That'll be
Yep.
exciting. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that'll be neat. Yeah, I've never been on that side of it either. Like I've had people like kind of help me or like crew me a little bit, but um, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to be on the other side of it. That'd be neat. Um,
I'm
so
looking forward to it.
yeah, yeah. So what do you think, um, like going forward, what kind of goals like do you have for for yourself? Do you plan on like chasing any longer distance or is 100 it? I mean, or would you ever go any further than that?
I don't know. I always say like I really like me today right now. I don't really have a great interest in like the 200, 250 distance. However, every time that like the Cocodona 250 is live streamed, or the Mammoth 2, like anytime any of these races are like live streamed, like I always tune in to watch. I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to
Yeah.
like be able to go and run? Just like all you have to do is like run for 4 days. Like that's all that you're doing. Like that life would be great. But then I'm like, yeah, but do you really want to do not only the time to like do the actual race, but like the time and commitment to put in the training to prepare you for whatever terrain and elevation and stuff that you're running on for that distance. So I don't think that I want to go higher than a 100-miler. However, if I had someone who was like, hey, I'm signing up for this 200-mile race, will you do it with me? I mean, I probably wouldn't say. I could be easily convinced, I'll just say. I haven't really set goals for next year or the next couple of years. 2025 for me was more of like a down year. I didn't have like an A raise. I didn't have anything that goals that I was trying to do, things that I was trying to do. I've had the past couple of years, I've raced a lot. I've done a lot, like 8 to 10 races a year for like the past couple of years. Like my commitment to myself for 2025 was that I was only going to do 4 ultra races, and I only did 4 ultra races. So like good on me for accomplishing that goal. And I didn't set time goals. I mean, I made myself training plans. It was like I trained. I can't say I prepared for Jackson County this year the way that I prepared for it the year before. I think the number of times I went out to run on hills that were even close to Jackson County in the months was maybe once.
Yeah, same.
I was like, I'm gonna go out and do it and support. I want to support the effort. Like I love the race. I love the race directors and the organization. I'm like, some other races I'm gonna do. But I didn't have I wasn't like actively trying to do anything. One of the things that I did this year that I have not done very much of, that I'm curious to see how my experience is in Florida, even just as like a crew, is April I ran a Gorge 50K in Oregon. So it's in the Columbia Gorge River, the Gorge Falls. We did 100K,
oh, cool.
They have 50K, maybe a couple small shorter distances as well. And that was really the first time that I like traveled. Most of the racing that I have done in the past decade plus has been in the Midwest. Like easy to drive to, either because I live in the area or I can go stay with family. But going out to Oregon to run that April is the first time that I've like actively traveled somewhere to go and race. And the reason why I did that was in end of 2024, my youngest brother, he's like, I'm running a trail marathon. He lives out in California. And I was like, that's so cool, Adam. Like, finally, somebody else in the family that's like taking an interest in trail running and distance running. Maybe I won't be the only one in family vacations that gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go run. Maybe I have another sibling that will do that with me. So my youngest brother ran, it was his first trail marathon in Napa Valley at the end of 2024. And he had a buddy from school that lived in the Oregon area that had signed up for this 50K. And Adam's like, he's like, I might do it too. I was like, well, if you decide to do it, I will come out and do it also. So like, if you and so I mean, if nothing else, I like walk, crawl, and then run to like support anyone else in my family that's gonna like I can get into doing this stuff as well. So he signed up and he texted me. He was like, hey, I signed up for that race. I was like, okay, well, let me hop on my computer. 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'm signed up too. And then my brother-in-law at Christmas last year, we were having like a Christmas call. They and my brother-in-law live on the Oregon coast. we're having our like family morning Christmas call because they were out there. It's like we were calling in from Michigan, and my brother-in-law was like, "Hey, I signed up for that race that you guys are doing too." And Terrell has like he's run in the past, like he is like not run, and I was like, "Oh, okay, let me make you a training plan." So I ran the Gorge Waterfalls 50K with my brother and my brother-in-law in April. And like my only goal of that was that was both for both of them their first ultra. I was like, I want to help make sure they have a great experience and they get through and doing it. But it was also the first time that I'd really traveled a great distance to go and do a race. So one of my goals might be to do like more traveling and racing. I go back and forth because leading up to that, like and then you race and then you feel so tired that like, well, how can I enjoy the place that I'm visiting when I am now so sore stair stepping downstairs? So we'll see.
I think we're back. Sorry about my internet just like completely shut off. Okay, cool. Continue. Sorry about that. So you're running with your brother at okay.
Yeah, where did I leave off for you?
Your brother did a half or trail marathon in Big. I think that's where we were.
Yeah. So So he did my youngest brother did his first marathon ever. Also happened to be a trail marathon, and then he had a buddy from school that was like, "Hey, I might do this race in Oregon," and my brother had told me this. I was like, "Well, if you decide to do it," I'm like I would do it too. And so he texts like, "Hey, Ashley, I signed up for the Gorge Waterfalls 50K." I was like, "Okay, please hold." 5 minutes later, on my computer, I'm like, "Okay, I'm signed up too."
I'm in.
see you in Oregon. See you in Oregon in April. And so I think I made him I gave him some like tips and things on that, but he had trained for a marathon, so I was pretty confident that he'd be able to train, for a 50K. It's like we said, it's less than 5 miles more than a marathon. But at last Christmas, we were having our family Christmas call. My sister and my brother-in-law actually live in Oregon. They live on the Oregon coast.
Cool.
So we're doing like our Christmas morning call, and my brother-in-law was like, "Hey, I signed up for that 50K that you guys are doing," and I was like, "Another one in the family. That's
yay!"
Great. And my brother-in-law Terrell is such an awesome person, but he's not a regular runner, and so I was also a little concerned. So I was like, "Let me send you a training plan and all of these things." So in April, and my parents, heard that now multiple children in the are doing this race, and they're like, they're like, "Can we come too?" I was like, "Of course. Why wouldn't I love to invite my favorite crew team to come out to the race? Please, the more the merrier." So my goal for that race is I wanted to make sure as my brother-in-law's and my brother's first ultramarathon, I wanted to make sure they had a great experience. So like my goal is like to run with them and all of that. So they finished their first 50K in April. That was my first big travel out of state ultramarathon. So one of my goals might be to do more traveling to places to do races. I would love to someday. I say this, but then after running Jackson County, I'm like, do I really mean it? I'd love to go and do the 50K at the Trail Fest in Mammoth, California, just because
Yes.
kind of to run Woodstock. It's just a great time. Uh, it's a lot hillier than it is here in Indiana, so I like had to like actually dedicate myself to like really, really training, like with intention, like for that specific course in that race. I would love to do that one sometime. So one of my goals might be to like pick more races to travel to. The only thing that I would say that's really, so I'm curious to see like how it is going down to support Lindsay in Florida, which she lives in Colorado now. She moved to Colorado. She lived in Indiana. She moved to Colorado
Yeah.
this past summer, and so like she's traveling to Florida to race. I'm going to travel down to pace and crew her. I'm curious to see like how that experience is. Because with any race, like you have like the build up and like the intensity of training for the race, and then you do the race, and then depending on so many things, including the distance, you're like, wow, after that race, I'd really just like to sit on the couch for the next week. But if you travel somewhere to go and run said 50 or 100K, I would want to do things like I would want to go hiking and exploring, and would I still want to do that after I'd run, an ultra marathon? That's one of the things. Like, well, or like go to those places and just like run for fun and enjoy it, and not like feel broken after a race. So that's one of the reasons why I probably haven't also done as much like traveling to races, because I'm like, I know after a race in Indiana, Jackson County, all I did for the next 2 days is just want to sit on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So So I haven't picked any races for 2026. I haven't set any goals. The only ongoing goal that I currently have is I have been running every single day since January 1st of 2019. So this will be my
cool.
seventh. It'll be my 7th year in a row of running every single day.
3,000.
Even that I haven't. Yeah, I have not set an end date for my run streak. Maybe it'll be 10 years, or it'll be like when there's a life event that just prevents me from running. I will say, and my friend Rachel that paced me the last loop at Jackson County thought that this was crazy. A life event that would prevent me from running does not include running a race. So when Rachel when Rachel started pacing me on Loop 6 of the Jackson County Ultra, which Rachel is she's trails before, but like she is a road runner, and she's a very, very good road runner. She almost broke 3 hours at the Chicago Marathon this year. Like, she is fantastic.
Rachel Cinders?
Rachel Patzers.
Oh. Okay.
When we started, she also when we started my last loop, Rachel, bless her, I kept telling the whole time, like, Rachel, you have big loop 1 energy right now. I'm like, I got loop 6 energy. I'm like, you got loop 1 energy. I'm like, but let me tell you about this great idea that I had in the middle of loop 3. And she's like, okay, please tell me. I'm so excited to hear your great idea. I was like, so I run every single day. And so what I'm going to do, based on the time that I was like figuring that I would finish Jackson, I'm like, when we get home, because she was amazing, and so she came down. Rachel ran the last loop, and then she drove me home. So like she got to write down.
Oh, cool.
So like she drove me home, so I didn't have to like be uncomfortable like sitting and like trying to drive myself, which is great. I was like Rachel, by the time I finish this, I'm like, it's gonna be like just a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit after midnight. I'm like, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna let my dogs out because I had somebody come and take care of them, and like, so I'm gonna let the dogs out. I'm gonna change my socks and my shoes, and like whatever, I don't remember, take off this voice that I wore in the car ride home, like, and then I'm gonna go run. And she's like, you mean like after like you're finishing this race, I'm gonna drive you home an hour and a half. And she's like, and then you're gonna go run? I was like, yeah. At like it'll be like 1:30 or like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna go run at least a mile because then I can go to bed. And when I wake up on Sunday, even though technically it's going to be Sunday already, I'm like, I won't have to go running.
You won't
And if I
have to
wait,
go running.
and if I wait until later in the day on Monday, I can have like 30 hours in a row of not running. Which is somebody who runs like running like every single day. It's very rare that like I can like figure out how to time it like that so that it's like I have that amount of time in a row where I'm not running. I think the last time that I realistically did that was when I ran the IT 100. I finished a little bit after midnight, or like I ran like 1 a.m. So like technically, like I ran both days. So I did not then at that point like need to go and run an additional mile or two, but because I finished Jackson County on Saturday before midnight, when I got home from Jackson County it was like 2:30 in the morning, I went out and ran like a 15-minute. I was actually trying to run 15-minute mile. Then I shower and I don't think I ended up getting back into bed until like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I was up for like 24 hours straight because I had to travel home, and then I had to come home and run before I could go to bed after running all day.
That's hardcore. I had a streak going for a little bit, but I didn't realize it until there was like a day I didn't run. I was like, oh well, I think I had like it was like 75 days or something. But I can always appreciate like people who have streaks for that long, because what are you at? Like you're close to 2,000 something odd days straight. I can't math, but like you're like thousands of days into it. I think that's pretty cool. So especially after 100K, that's pretty badass actually. Because like when I got home, I did nothing. I just like slung my feet over the couch and like laid upside down for like 8 hours or something. But
well, and that's what I was able to do all day Sunday, because and that was it. This is the logic that I was trying to explain at like 10:30 at night to someone who had not been running all day. To me, it made perfect. Are you just saying this because like you're so tired and that you think this is a good idea? I was like, no, because like I would rather go home like uncomfortable before I shower. I'm like, I'm not gonna be any less sore if I like wait until late like Sunday afternoon. I'll probably be more sore. Because I'm like, I won't have to like I can wake up and like not have to go running. I'm like, that's so much better. If I just run when I get home. I got up Sunday morning after not really sleeping, and I laid on the couch with my feet over the top of the couch, and it was fantastic. It was so great.
That logic totally makes sense to me though. I totally get it.
Right? Yeah. This is like I thought this was like the most brilliant idea, and I had this idea at like the middle of loop 3, because that's when my friend Anne was like, I think I'm only gonna do the 50K. She's like, you should keep. She's like, you should like go ahead, like don't keep like waiting and like walking the sun down. She's like, go ahead and go. And so after Anne and I split, when I didn't have anybody to talk to again, I was back by myself. I was like, here's where I come with all of my great ideas. And then I thought about that until like the start of loop 6, and I finally somebody was like, let me tell you about this great idea that I had. And she's like, this does not sound like a great idea to me.
Like, hear me out here.
I'm like, let me hear. I was trying to convince, like, let me convince you of all the reasons why this is such a great idea for me to do. I'm like, you don't have to do it, but like, let me convince you why this is good for me.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. That's cool. So how are you feeling now? Are you obviously you're still running, but Are you feeling like pretty recovered, I guess, from Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling I probably, and part of, um, the thing that I get a lot when especially people are like, when people know like how long of races I do, and then when they also know or learn that I'm like, you've been running every day for going on 7 years. They are very concerned. They're like, you're gonna hurt yourself. They're like, I'm so worried you're gonna hurt yourself. And the human body is amazing and incredibly adaptable. And part of the thing about ultra running and also about doing a run streak, for some also doing a run streak in addition to all the amount of volume and distance that I do, is I'm not running, and nor have I ever. I'm not running 5-minute miles.
Yeah.
And your body, the long slow run is something that like you build that endurance over time. Like your body adapts to that over time. And at this point, like it would feel weird not to go running. And there are I mean, 0 times in the past 7 years where I have not been able to make time in a day to run at least a mile. I didn't put the parameters on this of like I have 3 miles or I have to run 5 miles. Like a mile is fine. I probably going out, I know that I can run a mile. But there have been 0 days in the past 7 years I haven't been able to make time to run at least a mile, even if that is at 2:30 in the morning, 100K. And I think that your body just can adapt to things like that. It grows and it strengthens, and I think it's just. I mean, like I'm not worried about myself getting injured because like this is something now like my body is used to doing. I have a number of friends that they have overtraining or injuries, whether that's from like too much volume too quick or too much speed too quick. And I know that's where a lot of like, oh, like you're gonna get like runners have bad knees and they get hurt and all of that. But I think it's really like how you approach running, and how you allow your body to shape and adapt to that so that you can do something like I know you're running it's a 500 300K or a 500K.
500K.
Yeah, I mean like your body can adapt to do amazing things like that, and I think that's just it's super awesome, and it's also about how you approach it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I'm still fairly new to running. I mean, I've only been running for, I don't even know, 4 years, but it's been kind of cool to see like the changes that are happening. And like, I can actually do bigger back to backs. And I'm like, to your point, I'm not like setting any heroic paces. I mean, I do I do 80 plus percent of my runs. I mean, where I could talk to somebody,
Yeah.
and I'm just kind of chilling really for the most part. I mean, I try to throw in speed work. I wish I was better at doing speed work, but I really don't like it. It's like kind of, I don't know. I would rather go for a long run than like do like fartleks or something. It's just not really my jam. I'm trying to work that in, but I love doing long runs. Maybe that's my downfall. I love running long and slow, but that's just kind of what brings me joy, I guess. So
Yeah. But also, I mean, speaking for myself, I am not going to be someone I'm not gonna go out and ever win Western States. Um, that's not like something that like I capable. I mean, I just maybe I'm capable of doing it. I don't have the time and capacity to do that, or really the desire like right now to do that. And like running brings me joy, and it's like doing more long runs versus also I'm also terrible, and only in the past couple of years I've been like, yeah, I should do the speed workout stuff, and I should also do the strength training stuff. But same, like I'm like going for like go for a 10 mile, that brings me joy. And like if should bring anyone who's doing it, if you're like, it should bring you joy. I mean, I hope that the people that are winning Western States and UTMBs, like, I hope it still brings them joy. But also, like, if speed workouts don't bring you joy and long runs bring you joy, and you are still able to to race the things that you want to race and do the things you want to do, then do the long runs that bring you joy. And
Absolutely.
Speed workout, I guess, when you feel a burst of speed, throw it in.
Absolutely. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Like I said, I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. This was a lot of fun, actually, having you on. I look forward to running into you at more places and seeing you at more events. But I did ask you earlier today to think about some closing words. So I was going to ask if you had any closing words to give us. What would the closing advice or words be?
I've got two, and I did think about this.
Cool.
And they're both going to preempt like my end of the year Instagram post. The first one is make good friends with the race photographers at the races that you see the most frequently. I want to give the biggest shout out in the world to Timmy Howard.
No kidding.
I didn't know very well until a couple of years ago. And Timmy takes photos at a lot of the races that I do now, like whether they're on the road or on the trail, Timmy just always happens to be there. And there is nothing better than, and I see other, and I know other race photographers. Terry Fletcher is another awesome one that you do. Like, you see the photographer sitting out there, and like all of them, like you see the guy, but there is nothing better than that person that you see sitting out there being a friendly face. That not only like are they excited to see you, but like how excited you are to see them in the middle of the woods when there is no one else that is running around you, when there's not a place where spectators are going to be, to like see a friendly face and to hear a friendly voice, and just like the excitement and energy that gives you. So if you have races that you do frequently, get to know the race photographers that go there, because it just makes the experience all the better. And that being said, Timmy took one of my favorite photos at Tecumseh of me this year. He was at one of the last aid stations, and this aid station had a bunch of like motivational, inspirational signs at it. And so he takes this photo of like, it's the back of me, it's like me running away, and it's by this sign it says, "If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you."
Oh, yeah, that's a good picture.
Yeah, and I love the fact that like Timmy was the one that captured that, and I love the fact that I have this image of myself running, and like it sums up what trail running, I mean all of running, but like for me, like trail running in particular, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. And you know, what is the point of always doing something that is just so easy? Like, go out and try something that seems really, really hard. And even if you don't finish it all the way, or you don't finish it the way that you thought you were going to finish it when you started it, you're going to be different, and in most cases better for it, for trying the challenge. And so get to know your race photographers, and that may result in you having this amazing inspirational photo of yourself.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, I have to give Timmy credit for like all of my product photos, like articles I've written and podcasts. Like, I use his photos for everything. So, and he like made, like, I hired him for Hustle in the Heartland, and he just like made that race happen. Like, yeah. So shout out to Timmy, and shout out to all great photographers too. Yeah, I love that advice, because you know how awesome it is when you're like struggling, and you can hear, like, using Timmy as an example. There was like last year, I really wasn't in like the right headspace for the entire 100K. And I remember I was like coming down this downhill. I didn't even see Timmy, but I heard him go like, "Hey buddy," and looking good. And I was just like, it changed my race. So yeah, I agree with that. And I agree with the second advice too. Do things that challenge you. like, oh, I'm paraphrasing that, but do things that challenge you, it'll change you. I butchered that, but still, I absolutely agree with that. But and one more question: I host a music podcast too. So I don't know if you listen to music while you run. So it doesn't have to be while you're running. But what are you listening to lately? Like what's on your playlist lately? I'll add this to my playlist too.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Any of it.
Heck yeah.
It's fun. So yeah, so one, I don't listen to music while I run. One, I have small ears, so most headphones, they don't fit right when I run, and they also, listening to things also kind of gives me a headache when I run. So this also like throws people for like when they're like, you run every single day and you run 100-mile races and you listen to anything run. I'm like, I listen to nature and my own internal thoughts, for better or worse. But I also teach a bar workout class at a studio in Broad Ripple called Bar Ripple, and I always look forward to Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year. However, I just put an asterisk on my Spotify Wrapped because it ends up being like a hybrid of like music that I listen to and also like bar workout playlist music.
Oh, okay.
So like my most like dance house tech music because I teach bar, that like we have like I have music and playlists that are like a certain like on like a certain beat and like a certain like all of that my Spotify Wrapped is always like here are some things that you listen to, but also like what you listen to a lot are like these playlists that you use to teach a workout class too. But no, I'm an avid Taylor Swift listener, so any Taylor Swift, I'd say the Evermore album, any songs on the Evermore album is probably my favorite.
I'll add it to the playlist. Yeah, we've got like 55 and a half hours of like music that people have like told me to add or added to the playlist. And I don't listen to music when I do ultras either, but when I run commute, I'll like challenge myself to listen to the playlist regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
So it's like I've listened to a lot more Taylor Swift, and like I would have never given Lady Gaga a chance until the last year, but I'm like, I'm into this. So it's been really cool, like listening to like music I would never like even give the first chance to. And now I like actually like I'm like into the music now. So it's been kind of fun it's been a fun journey. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'll add some new Tay-Tay to the list.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, thank you for coming on, Ashley. This was great. Like I said, it was fun getting to know you in this format, seeing you at events. You're always so positive. So it's just like, I just had to have you on the podcast. So, great work at Jackson. I can't wait to see what you, take on next or do next or crew or whatever. I know that's also fun and part of the journey too. So.
Yeah, I'm excited. The next thing I'll be at is the Long Haul 100.
Heck yeah.
Doing my friend Lindsay. So I'll be running anywhere from 16 to 30 miles, depending on how much she wants me to pace her for.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Ashley. Thank you, everybody who tunes in. Like I said, we can't do this without you. So, share, like, rate, review the podcast. And I will talk to you all and see you all again next time beyond the finish line.